are listening Fratelli di Rugby podcast. Enjoy.
Welcome everyone, ciao a tutti, benvenuti in a new episode of Fratelli di Rugby URC Round 1 review. Fortune favors the brave, is it right, Mike? Ciao. How are
Ciao.
you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. It's good to have watched some nice rugby this weekend. To be honest, mate, lots to talk about. So much to talk about. But yeah, man, good. The URC's back. Hey,
There was a really interesting round. We saw a
Mm.
lot of tries scored by the new players. Thinking about Josh Ioane, one Aidan Morgan, another one for Ulster. We saw Prendergast from the beginning, starting at for Leinster. We saw Leinag.
yeah,
We saw
yeah,
the permit players, Mike.
yeah,
Talk about
yeah.
that.
I mean, it's
Many
how much.
today, of course, we're gonna focus on Friday Zebre, Saturday Benetton. Let's say a little bit bitter and sour, salty. How was this weekend for us as an Italian? A little bit more, less than.
I don't know. It's an odd one, isn't it? Because it was a good opportunity. I think it's an opportunity missed. I think that's how a lot of the Italians will feel. Well, you've got to give credit to Scarlets. Obviously, they took their chances, but both teams, and I'm sure we'll go into Zebre in a lot of detail. But I feel like both teams could have and should have been further ahead. They had the opportunities. If you just look at the stats of the 20,
We will.
Stats is your job, so I won't. You know what I mean, I'll leave that to you, mate. But but if we look at the stats of like the attacking stats, that we definitely could have done better. So yeah, so a bit of a mixed bag, mate. I think emotionally as Italian fans, I think there's plenty of positive stuff though, and it's always easy to get bogged down on the negatives, but there's so much positive that we can talk about. And like you said, permit players, Otto. So thoughts?
Let's say I'm gonna put this back because fortune favors the brave in these like permit players and what they brought in the team as a performance. Yes,
Yeah.
like Locatelli, Bertaccini, both scored for Zebre.
Yeah.
We saw a decent Baronio in the last 10 minutes too. Ruffalo not bad. So talking about Zebre and the permit players, such a nice surprise to see players pretty ready for this kind of games.
Yeah, and I think we touched on it during the live, but when you're watching players like that, and for those of you guys who listen and don't follow, Italian rugby all too closely, and what we talk about the permit players is basically players who have an agreement to play in principle with either franchise from the Serie A Elite, which is the Italian domestic league. So to have players who stepped up, and let's be honest, they didn't look out of place, particularly Locatelli. I thought he was brilliant. To step up and have them, contribute and significantly influence the game. That's a good. It's a good advocation of Italian rugby, isn't it? It's a good way of like maybe putting that little benchmark in. And yeah, just sort of moving the dial maybe in terms of where the standard of Italian rugby is. It's a good sort of acid test, isn't it, Otto?
Absolutely, the couple of good stuff we saw from him carrying the ball. He was really confident bringing the ball forward as Licata did too. But the two turnovers won in defense, they were really, really important in that part of the game. So fair play for him. 37 meters gain on with 7 carries, so he was able to move forward 5 meters every time. 4 defenders beaten and 4 successful carry over the 7. So pretty well done. Pretty like job done, and the try, of course. So on that, it's really important. He was already there with a. We're gonna go deep more, but really interesting back line, and he played the 80 minutes. That is another thing. Really interesting to see for coach Viadana's coach. said I'm waiting for him to come back, but let's see, because if he keep playing in this way, of course probably will be more in Parma than Viadana. And on the other side we have to remind everyone that Locatelli was the MVP of the last Serie A. So
Yeah.
that is Serie A elite, let's call it the top league in Italy. Okay, so
yeah. So he won awards at the end of the season as well, and you can see why. Like, he was so impactful. He was putting his head in dangerous places, and like I said, it's a nice it's nice to see sort of Italian players playing, in Serie A, stepping up. And we spoke about Spagnolo last season a lot, didn't we, Ottavio? And obviously, I'm sure we'll
and
probably
we will
speak a
more
lot about
today.
a lot more about him today. But he again, someone who just stepped up from Serie A. So I think, with the work that's been done at age grade for such a long period of time, and yes, the franchises have the first pick of the players. If you imagine a draft, for those of you guys who don't quite understand Italian rugby, basically the franchises get like first pick, and all the other players end up playing in Serie A elite. And obviously, if you do that over the course of 6-7 years of fantastic age grade, then all of a sudden you've got like this standard that is impacting the entire league. And they've come from professional backgrounds, from well established age grade and elite pathways, and all of a sudden that general standard of the league gets better. So that talent pool probably isn't such a step down as it was sort of 5-6 years ago. Would you agree with that, Otto?
Absolutely, it looks better, more interesting players. You know what still I'm missing from the previous year? A team, a fully under 23, the academy team. Used to be an academy team, like a lower level, one level lower, but still interesting to have that kind of team to push more players, even more than the ones that we saw now, between Piacenza, Colorno, the players, the youngest that were in Petrarca with in Padova, sorry for Petrarca, Spagnolo, Asa, Di Bartolomeo, no, the back row that won a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Do you think that there's scope for the emerging Italy team to come back? Do you think there's going to be something?
I would like to see it, because it's a great opportunity for the players to show up, and to show what they can do in international level. Sometimes,
do you think someone should maybe send them a cheeky message?
Like in spending review time, it's hard, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. He's an auditor by trade, so I'm sure he's going fine, going for it like a fine, what's it called, toothpick, like just tooth going, whatever the saying is. He's basically scrutinizing the crap out of everything. That's basically the point we're making.
I'm still all in for a third franchise that maybe would compete against Georgia, Delta, so the Lusitano, Siberians, all that. I would like to see all these young players put it there, added to the cup. I would like to see that.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's definitely, like, even from a let's say commercial standpoint, people want to watch rugby. Like, rugby fans will want to watch rugby. And if there's a way of consolidating, and actually I really like one of Eduardo's points about trying to really push for a rugby channel. And I know obviously it's been spoken about ad nauseum by, I don't know, so many different people. But if there was if someone was keen on doing that from like one of the major broadcasters, and we could start packaging some of this stuff, as long as it covers the costs, that costs of salary, costs of travel, doesn't need to make money too much. As long as it covers the costs, I think every franchise would snap at that, wouldn't they?
Of course, absolutely. So everything was nice. It's nice, Mike, talking about the permit player, but at the end, the game was pretty frustrating. Talking about Zebre, I'm gonna show up while we chat the stats of the game. If we see the stats of the game, you think maybe Zebre won the game. And going backward, like couple of steps behind, backward. Yeah, and check. Fortune favors the brave. Well, we say that probably a more conservative and more like less mistakes brings more points, even if you do less. It's not the
I
quantity
think that's
that
fair.
bring you points, but it's the quality at the end that brought the points for Cardiff. Couple of excellent strike, let's say almost strike play. Because 2-3 phases we are there, and they were able to score 4 tries. They put the game, let's say, ready for the end at minute 23 with the third score with Thomas after a little bit of chaos by Zebre in that moment of play. But let's see the stats. I'm happy that at the end Zebre brought a point back. But if you see possession, 60% almost. More clean breaks, more defenders beaten. Look the crazy amount of offloads made by Zebre. Something crazy. Think about Brunello. Last year we saw not those that
Very
style
conservative, wasn't he?
of play,
Yeah,
right?
very
So
conservative, high percentage play.
territory, the
Man.
double of number of tackles, missed tackles, half of that, 88% success, 7 turnover out of 10. So, Mike, where
That was
was
big though,
the
wasn't it?
game?
Yeah,
6
yeah,
penalties conceded. That it's huge thinking about Zebre.
yeah,
Only 6. But the
yeah.
mistakes, Mike, there was
That
those
it,
bloody mistakes.
well,
Because,
it's always, you know what? It's a bit of the same from last year, where forcing things, trying to force stuff. Like obviously Zebra are always under pressure, and this season changes nothing. If anything, it makes them more under pressure because of last season. So they're always forcing stuff, but it's that final pass, it's that final bit of quality that just misses. I'm sure you're probably going to go into more stats, but what you sent me about the 22 entries, when you sent me that, I wish I didn't see it, because they're so good at getting up the field. It's like I said, that forced offload, or that rushed pass, or sometimes it's the decision about taking the contact and recycling, and it's always, oh, we have to do it this way. Even to the point where, if I'm being really honest, like the way that some of the decisions, the game management in general, sort of that's the bit where they need work on. And I think Monte Mauri had a bit of a nervy start. Obviously, we saw some quality from him. We know what he can do, but I think Darre came on and he showed some real quality, didn't he?
Absolutely. Those mistakes, though, that roll on the ground were not needed. That last pass that not let you score at the end. Think about that offload by Trula for Cambriani, the ball that doesn't arrive after the line break. Krumov, a couple of situations where knock-ons and that roll on the ground. I mean, and the management of the game when they play the tap and go again.
Yeah.
Again,
just
Mike.
take the scrum. You've been like demolishing them all game. Like, why would you not take the scrum? It's like the opposite of the time. Well, it's it's the same. It's almost the same issue, isn't it? Where they kept taking the scrum, kept winning the scrum, and then they tapped. It's the same, right?
So that really surprised me, not in positive. And Josh, that I just saw commenting on YouTube after Phantom. Well, of course, because at the end everything is nice, but not that.
Yeah,
not so nice.
Can I pinpoint? I think the defining point of the game. What I think is the defining point of the game. We watched it, and I think I called it out at the time. So Zebre did some amazing play, recycled the ball very quickly in the second half. Straight after the second half, obviously something happened, in terms of in the
somebody
changing room with Jelic. Maybe some conversations had, but there was nice fluency. They get all the way up the pitch, and they win a 5 meter scrum. under the posts, 5 meter scrum, and the early engagement for the free kick, and then they kick, we knock on, scrum, and it was 6 mistakes, one after the other. They scored the try, and it goes from potentially being 3 points behind to being 17 points down.
Absolutely.
That was the defining point, and early engagement. I mean, like you said, he could have recycled, he could have reset it if he really wanted to. He could have, but it's one of those, mate, isn't it? It's those
He did
little
something similar in the second half for let's say for Zebre, right? When he whistled, but that was a moment for sure. And but if we have to go find the issues, they were those couple of missed tackles in the two, let's say, the position in the defensive set piece of the second try when they score after the first line break. Sian wrote in the chat was spot on why the player is on the other side, and then you have to go all around the track. I know that you're expecting that kind of move on the open side, but still, even the 9 can be a little bit behind that, trying to just slide to go tackle together. They weren't able. Cambriani tackle at the end. They were just 10-15 already flat. The kick behind, Shiri was perfect kicking.
He was brilliant.
Not by the to the post, but the rest of the kicks were great.
Yeah.
That moment like that. The other moment before with between Montemauri and Morisi, I guess, was the first line break with Milo.
This is what we were saying though at the time, didn't we? We said if like it's hard to pinpoint because you don't know what people's roles are in that situation, but it did seem like it was going to be. It was more on the 10-12 channel where they attacked, wasn't it?
Like, let's say almost classic, now that you try to attack there, but the point is that they were able to keep playing after the line break, scoring, and when the line breaks was for Zebre, nothing happened. Why? Because in the first half too, the problem was how slow was the rack. Slow rack, move the ball, you really predictable. I know that you point the offside, let's say the manage of the line of the offside by the ref. That was a little bit different, but still, you have to adapt to that.
Yeah, the best teams adapt.
They need 40 minutes to adapt.
Yeah, you adapt to the ref. Like the best teams adapt to the ref. I think, big emphasis on when you're chasing the sun, where they spoke about how they almost prepared for the ref and they wanted to show the picture for the ref. Like that's a bit of it as well. If you're gonna potentially have a ref who is very, very on the ball bit getting latched on, and like he was giving no time to the team to clear out. Like maybe you should start targeting more and more. And we saw that by, like I said, Locatelli was one who really put his face in it, and Fiscal, when he came on, he was trying to clamp onto everything. So like those players showed quality because they adapted to the ref more so than they were probably just asked to task something. So that was really quite an interesting one. But yeah, I think with your point about sort of the offsides, etc., like taking out of the stuff which is out of Zebre's control, I'm actually really quite excited for this season for them. I know this sounds really weird because we talked about how let's inaccurate they were at the final pass.
That's the word.
But do you think, like, I'm sure you agree with me, there's lots to be really excited about this team, isn't there?
It gives you a lot of perspective in the future as a potential for the team that they can do. Think about Jesse out, for just to say one, and Pani. They can bring you even more. The fact that Zambonin, like, there was a kind of a bomb squad, so probably that helped in the second half.
Yeah,
so
for
the
sure.
quality came up. And for me, still the crazy way to call back Ferrari and playing as a lock for me, spot
Yeah.
on. Because I
Yeah.
love that. I say that. I'm gonna repeat. It was nice to see that kind of move, but still, probably was the first game of the and they had to like trying to understand the distances in the like the nerves too of the team. I don't know. Yes, they were being smashed back in the tackle, but that doesn't mean that the line was there and they can do something different. So even when there was the chance to go with the flow in attack, sometimes Jelic missed that half moment, neither a
Yeah.
second,
Split
was that
second.
half
Yeah.
moment that
Yeah.
the tempo of the games. When you go out of tempo there, it's hard to keep moving. And that for
Yep.
me was something. You have Garcia out, Fusco out, you are playing with there was Dominguez. In theory, Jelic is the fourth. So yes, they can do much better than what we saw.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add a
I,
couple of stuff, Mike, to this. The Opta for the team of the week Opta analyst. There is Giulio Bertaccini, is interesting from Zebre 13, and McNally for Cardiff at 4. So couple of them, but the stats. I'm gonna just point a couple of stuff about their Zebre 224 passes. The
nice.
first team for passes, second team for passes was Connacht with 210, and then all the other teams they got less than 200, actually less than 184 by Ulster. But turnover lost. The worst team in the URC this week for turnover lost was Zebre with 21 turnover lost. Mike
Wow.
had only won 3, so that's
Yeah.
pretty insane. Thinking
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, isn't it? Because like I think all Italian teams, and I include the national team as well, where we're most vulnerable is in a counter attack because we need set defense. Like it's always been that way. So giving up, possession when you're in an attacking position, you're set up for attack. Like you leak a lot more running meters that way. So yeah, that's tough. That's a tough start. That's something that they definitely need to work on. But I think Robert and Lawbor have got some really interesting points. I think Robert, this I think you're spot on, mate. I
Push
like
toward to forward instead,
yeah,
and stay, follow up, and then maybe go double the tackle, go behind after the tackle. But no, he just pushed hard.
he just created that dog leg, didn't he? And like they just exploited that little gap. But I think aside from that, because I don't want to be too harsh on him because I think the second half, if we took out of
One half
performance,
each team.
yeah. If we took that out, maybe because the opponent started tiring, but maybe like I said, something was said in the changing rooms, but he found his tempo, like he found the tempo of the team. And some of the plays, when and we'll probably point to that Krumov break again. That's when they got quick ball and passes were to hand and there was more accurate. Like that's what he
The
can do.
true line break, the both line break, that's
Beautiful.
really good.
Yeah, so that's what he can do. I think from that side, I think that's what he needs to focus on because there's probably a lot of stuff that he'll want to learn from. But seeing what he can do when he plays well, that's what he needs to focus on because that's what Zebre need this season. If the boys are out, like that's what they need from him.
Trying to wrap about Zebre, Mike. Next week, Munster
Yep,
in Parma.
yep.
So pretty like a reality check already for them
Yeah.
against a really important thing. And Josh, read my mind. Are you gonna start Dare next week in Parma? It's interesting to yes.
Dare almost deserves a shot. However, did he play that well because you know, we were playing against tired legs because Zebre like moved the ball around a lot and they had a lot of possession the entire game. So did he shine that much because the team were exhausted in front of him, or is it like was he just that good, right? So there's elements there. Otto, to be honest with you, I don't know. I think I quite like him on as a finisher because he covers multiple positions. The question is, if he does start, I'm going to ask you a question: does he start over Fratelli instead of Montemauri?
No, man, Fratelli, it's too important.
Good.
And
Right.
Robert,
We agree.
the stats, I'm gonna give it just a definition. Yes, depending, it's that because you can put like turnover by a bad pass that change possession, can be like
By
during
handling error.
the game, can be the turnover, jackal the ball, many different of that. Soon I'm
So
gonna have
22 losses in possession as opposed to like a jackal is what
yeah,
Otto meant.
kinds of that. And then I was thinking about Montemauri. So we should see even Montemauri with a little bit more of tempo in attack, not to have every time the defense set to go get him. So bravo Phantom, mi sei piaciuto qua, bella cosa. Diciamo because of Baronio better passes. Baronio was nice the way
Phantom's
and
learning in the chat. It's like a degree.
he's
Oh, see,
Baronio because Viana play.
Phantom. You said something right, so now you've broken Ottavio's internet. You've just broken the internet, or like you've broken the internet.
Absolutely.
Phantom said one thing right. The internet breaks. That's it. It's gone. It's gone. Sorry, you were saying you said Baronio and it cut out, mate.
No, Baronio is used to play a quick, speedy game because Viadana is really interesting the way they play, and they arrived to the final against Petrarca at the end, and I love the way Viadana try to apply like the style of play, and Baronio was one of the key players there. So probably yes, more excitement and everything. But let's see, whoever's gonna play 9, I want to see even Montemauri playing with a little bit more of flow.
Yeah, no, obviously it's not. I think, you know, it's one of those questions for me. I think when people see starters and finishers and like this person needs to do this because they deserve it, like that's taking a unilateral approach, right? And say, okay, someone did the team did this because of that, right? That's never the you know a component in team rugby, let alone rugby and sorry team sport, let alone rugby, because there's always like so many different factors that contribute to it. Like, you know, we looked at the stats and Cardiff kicked less, but they were so much better with their returns, right? So
Yes.
you'll go into that in probably a little bit more detail, but it's stuff like that. You know, if you say, "Oh, the team who kicks the most wins," full stop, as a blanket statement, like Eddie Jones used to say, well, you know, it's actually maybe the team that received the most, or the team that challenged the most. It's the team that have the quick. Like, there's so many different factors. But you can always point out one thing. So Montemauri having a bad game might be because of Jellic, right? That might be true. Also might be that he had a bad game. There was a few times where, the passes weren't too bad and he dropped them. So like there's also like, do you know what I mean? There's so many components to the sport, isn't there?
A lot of components. But I think they will try probably to stick with same almost the same 15, and maybe a chance more to start with Fischetti maybe next week.
Yeah, no, Cheddar. I've got to be honest. I was so excited about him, and
that almost
I just think, it's just like one thing.
Your hopes.
Well, yeah, I just I just he's one of those where he's clearly a talented player. Just maybe he just needs a little bit more time. Maybe he's got the fear. Like, came back from a major injury. It's one of those, isn't it, Otto?
Maybe because we saw much more in those in less minutes from Pitinari. That probably
Mhm.
also shadow a little bit on the performance of Nocera. It looks fair. The scrum was fair this week. I don't think there
Yeah,
was big issues in general. They take that free kick and a penalty against, I think, in the whole game. So
yeah.
not bad on that side. But hey, let's see. Actually, about injury, that I see the chat asking. No idea about injury. Probably this week, or with the release of the team, we will know more about the bollettino medico injury list and stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah.
let's see.
I mean, I would love to see just for context for those who can't see, like full score Dominguez. They're all asking who's back. Obviously, full score would be a really interesting person to see. Obviously, again, we're talking about accuracies. I'm sure he's had plenty of time whilst he's been injured to practice his passing from the base. But guys, what you need to be aware of again is like don't base your opinion on back end of games where he's running against tired legs, because full score's a powerful runner. Playing like that as a starter is a completely different game.
The perfect 7, the 9 for
Yeah,
7 Fusk for
yeah,
us
he's
at
a
least.
talented player, isn't he?
Best player for the Zebre, Mike, before we move to Benetton?
Best player,
Best
Locatelli.
player.
Like that's
Locatelli.
not unsung though. Like
Fair.
that he was clearly
Locatelli.
like stand out for me in terms of like how he played. I think
Bene.
Cambriani had a good game as well.
Yeah. I can say like an honest game, like nothing less than nothing more. A turnover that I didn't like the way he went to contact in that on the right side of the field in attack, but in general pretty decent to be the first after injury. So happy that he finished the game actually.
Yeah.
So from 1 point to 2 points, the draw, Benetton Scarlets, but still we can be mad in the same way. Let's start from the positive approach of this game. What was good from this game from Benetton, Mike?
Like a lot of sort of new faces, a lot of players who haven't played together in a long time, a lot of players yet to come back as well. So to really be in a position where you let the opponent come back into a game because you haven't been as lethal as you should be, as in terms of you didn't put your foot on the throat and finish it when you had the opportunity to. I think there's lots of positives there, mate. I think it's one of those where it's tough because of how the last few seconds of the game ended, but because I think that's probably what left the sour taste in most people's mouth. However, I would like to say that there's lots of positive. Genovese came on, played well. We had Titels come back, play. Again, these are like potentially career-ending injuries, and these come back, and like there was lots to try out, lots of stuff to see. We saw Big Seb come in and be a dog on the field, and there's
already 6 carries, like
he
one
was
of
an
the
animal,
most
mate.
carries in the game, and he came from the bench. So yeah.
Yeah, he was an animal. Like so plenty of positives, mate. I think there's plenty of negatives though as well, and that's what you expect the first match
So
of the season, don't you?
Spagnolo, outstanding game.
Unreal.
Running.
Mate, he's putting his hat in the ring for genuinely one, like, and I'm not even saying this, one of the best props in the URC. He's putting his hat in the ring, and it's his second season.
Yeah, absolutely, because he was able to carry really well the ball. A big line break, actually, Mike.
3 turnovers?
Two turnovers,
2
I think.
turnovers?
2 or 3.
Mental.
Anyway,
Like
yeah.
for a prop, like
Scrum
mental.
working well, moving around the field. So
Maul.
yes,
Like he's just mate. He could
Quasimodo.
genuinely be like a generational talent. Like if we say Castro was a generational talent. He could be that, for us.
And of course, I have to say, even also, despite everything, he keeps scoring the fireman Onisi Ratave.
Flying Fijian. The pocket rocket.
The firing Fijian, because he was literally fireman before. So
yeah. He was he mate. He just, you know what I think it is. Most people don't expect a winger to run on the blind but he does it so instinctively. It's just like, I'm gonna use every blade of grass.
My elbow.
As soon as I get the ball, I am using every blade of grass on this pitch. But yeah, he's an interesting one. It's just the same old issues though, isn't he? Like, in terms of, this isn't his issue, by the way. Same old issue where he runs and he's isolated because no one expects him to go that far. Like on the break on the left hand side, I think it was probably sort of 20 minutes or so, and he just makes the break. Like I said, they don't expect him to get to burn them on the blind, makes the blind, and then it's turned over because there's no one out to support him. He makes probably like 15 yards, stuff like that. That's not his fault though. That's like supporting players, like that this man's going to make yards, be there.
All that coconut milk, how good it works. How good.
Yeah, man. It's nice. Yeah. Gives him the energy, my guy.
So a couple of things before moving on, also on the, let's say, negative of the stuff that can improve. Maybe it's better. I hope my audio works better, as Adam asked in a commentary on YouTube. I hope it's better. So let us know, Adam, what you think about this, the audio, because we tried to change a couple of stuff, and I hope
was this from two? Was this from two?
Yeah, last
podcasts?
week. Yeah. So I said, let's see. So let us know. And then, of course, if you like this podcast, so Italy Rugby, please follow up with a nice subscribe button. Hit that button on YouTube or here on X. So wherever you want, keep following. We have also an Instagram account. From one on the left side of the field, Mike Ratave. On the other side, there was a really, a guy that belongs to Treviso.
Yeah.
Which is that?
Yeah, obviously, it was shared in the chat, and I shared it back on Twitter, where an emotional Michael Liner sort of gives his shirt and said, obviously, in Italian, that the product of him playing in Benetton will always be close to him. The shirt's always going to sort of be very, very important to him, because the product of him playing here is Lewis, and now he's gone full circle, and he's representing the club of his dad and of his mum and his family. It's crazy, like how much he's actually tied down to Treviso.
How much is Italian?
But also his grandparents live there, right, in Treviso, and like they're just there, right? So
absolutely,
yeah, nice guy. Nice. And I thought he had a good, mate. I thought he had a good opening game. To be honest, good opening. You asked
in the team in the game, Mike, because we said there were 6 entries in the 22, 5 entries for the Scarlets. But do you remember that moment, that 2 versus 1 with that ball between Rhino Smith and Linag? So shall we give the fault to one of them? Who was who committed the mistake? Both 50-50.
I'm trying to picture it actually, because I'm not quite sure which, because there was 2 occasions where there was potentially an overlap. Was it when Rhino had the ball?
2 versus 1.
Sorry?
There was a knock-on in 2 versus 1.
Right, where it was forced from Liner was on the outside.
Yeah, of course, on the wing.
Yeah, but so it was a 2 on 1.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's always going to be the.
So
It's
Rhino
always
Smith
going to
was
be.
carrying the ball. I'm trying
Yeah,
to.
so he didn't try and offload, did he?
No, he just pass the ball.
Yeah, so it's always going to be the person passing the ball, unless it's like to hand, right? It's always the person making the decision makes the mistake,
Makes sense. Make absolutely sense what you're
unless they
saying.
overrun it or. But like, yeah, no, I don't think it was that. I'm still trying to work out which because there's trying to work out which one you're talking about. But yeah, for me, if it's the person who's giving the pass, they make the decision to try and drag the players in, and if it's a winger worth their salt, they'll score the try, right?
So, Mike, for the joy of life, I will show you the moment.
Oh, you have
Okay?
already cut. Oh, stat man.
No, we have.
He
Yeah, I have
set
cut
me
the
up,
game.
guys.
I cut the game, but I
Let's have a look.
have still to make the video and everything. So this is the situation with this ball moving here.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I remember this. Yeah, he overran it, didn't he?
No,
He overran it.
that's I want to understand. Is it an overrun? But also, you want more flat pass there? That is
Let's have a look.
my.
So let's see. Play it one more time. I just want to see the point where heads turned. So like calls for it. Does he look first? He looks. Yeah, I think it's overrun. I mean, like regardless, it's probably low percentage for a try there because the cover was already coming across, before the ball got to him. So there was pressure. What you could argue is that the inside man didn't sell it to the defenders. So like they
You just
were
move
always
quick
drifting.
out.
Yeah, they were always drifting. He needed to sell it to them. So
Mm.
you could argue that, but to be honest with you, mate, like it's not really anyone's fault there. I think ball could have gone better, and I think Liner could have been in better position. Like it was 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah, at the end, I was trying to understand which one is the player that should have been better. Of course, you want better a little bit from everybody.
What I will say is this, mate. If you call for the miss pass, because what you showed me is miss pass to Rhino, right? If you're going to call for the miss pass, you have to make sure that you sell it to the defender, right? So because you could go to hand, and then the person on your inside could sell it, then you have more time to sell it, and then it's literally walking over. So game management, mate, it always comes down to game management with us, right? That's
it's crazy how both games at the end. I'm happy that Benetton get the game back in the last at the last moment, at the last minute of the 80 minutes. They were able to score at the end, but still, these little mistakes, I don't want them to cost too much points, because last year Benetton was able to qualify in the last game of the regular season for the playoff, and those like leaving 2 points, like you left 2 points.
Do you want to know what it reminds me of?
In general, Umaga left the 50% of the occasion from the booth.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you know what the game reminded me of when we finished? France, the under-20s, where we had the problem is, again, we had the penalty advantage. And do you remember this against France, where we went and it was what's his name? He's in America at the moment playing sevens. Sorry,
Sante.
No,
that game they went to kick in the corner.
Oh, sorry, who went to kick it? Yeah, no, I mean, who scored the try?
Douglas.
He was at
No,
sorry,
wasn't Douglas.
Douglas, yeah, it was, yeah. So, and then it's exactly the same. Like we have the penalty right under the post. Like you need to score that try under the post, and the Premiership teams probably would have just ground that out, like just ground it like into mincemeat until it got reset, and they would have done the same. And this, like, that's what we needed to do there. So that's a net win for them. Like that could have very easily have been game over had we made the right game management decision on the death.
Mike, what do you think about the decision of Marin to kick the ball out at the end?
Honestly, for me, if unless like you spilt the ball, it's not a clean catch, all of those things. For me, I would want my team to go for it. And if I'd rather I'd rather my team live like lions than die as cowards. Do you know what I mean? That's me, right? But then also 2 points is better than 1 point.
Exactly.
And 1 point is the difference between maybe making the top 8 and not making the top 8. That said, 4 points is better than 2 points. So for me, I think you go for that game. But
no, it's funny because we had for the Super Bra prediction for the media, we said Cardiff by 6 or by 5, and then they won by 6, something like that. No, we said by 6, and they win by 5, and then we give 13 points victory for Benetton. I was sure this game was that distant, at least those points, the gap between the two of them. So it's really was really bitter at the end the game. Also because I didn't watch the second half live because I was live here and everything went in shortage here, outage.
Did Phantom say something right? Not twice in a year. Not twice in a lifetime.
I don't know, but still, man. But anyway, next week.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see because I don't remember next week because I checked before.
We're literally speaking about it before, weren't we? Just whilst you're checking, I think my final point is, right, people who are really hard on a kid, right, who maybe misjudge something, right, they need to give their head a wobble. Like what we want these players to do is grow, and like if they've made a mistake, they don't need people trolling them on fucking social media. They know better than we do that if he's made a mistake, his teammates are going to let him know, the coaches are going to let him know. And he's 21 years old, mate, 22 years old. Like, just chill out. And this is just sort of a general observation. It's not directed at anyone because I saw it all over the social medias, right? You might not agree with what he did. He's the one on the pitch and he decided. Tough, right? And I'm sort of the same. I don't necessarily agree.
No, but the thing about Marin in general, like, as he decided to drop kick and let
was that against Edinburgh 2 years ago?
Yeah. So, everything is there.
Yeah, I'm
talking about Scottish. It's Glasgow Benetton next week. Glasgow Benetton. Oof,
that's gonna be a good game.
That's a big game. That's a big, huge game. You have to be really loaded up for this game. Another couple of things about Benetton's game. Benetton fans that lives in Treviso, go to the stadium. Because it's really surprised me in a negative way the fact that all the tribuna on the other opposite side, they were empty seats. And I think last weekend was a really great opportunity for all the fans, for rugby fans in general too, that are in the area. They can go to Treviso to go to see a great game, say thank you to the team for the great season of the last year, and to enjoy a great day of rugby. So probably that I didn't like. So go to the stadium, go now, because it's get colder. It's gonna start raining. We're 21 degrees in Treviso. It was nice. Maybe not so many mosquitoes around. Go to the stadium. Mike, talking about the Phantom asking to Zanonen, who should play? Who you want to see playing this game against Glasgow next week?
The Italian players are back in round 3, aren't they? So, are they back next week? They're back soon. I know that, but it has to be.
I can tell you that Favourite is pretty ready because he entered for the last 30 seconds of the game for the kickoff.
No, I know, but like he didn't play. Like the ones that played a certain amount of game time had a compulsory stand down from the federation.
Linag was there. Garbisi entered in the second half.
That's true. How many games? But Lana only played.
Man, all
2
there.
games, didn't he?
They're ready.
Sorry,
if you think everybody ready. Then there are the injury and there are the Argentinians.
So we're going to have Brex, Menoncello. We're going to have everyone
Just
back.
them probably. I don't know if he's
Oh,
gonna
so
try
it's going to be those two then, right? Like,
to play them
why are we
this week
asking?
or not.
Mate, it's a big game, isn't it? Like, if you're not going to pick your big players for big games, what are you doing?
When
Like, even Leinster pick them for big games. Like,
yeah, makes sense. So Brexoncello.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. If it ain't broke, like if it's good enough for the national team, like why is this a discussion?
With Marin or with Jacobo Magaten? With Gallagher or with Reno Smith?
I want to see Gallagher play. Yes, with
Gallagher
Gallagher.
play.
Yeah, just because like he gives something slightly different, right? Like, but then
So you're gonna play with Odogu 14 or Lineag?
I would say a Dogwu.
Here we go with Robert that wants Drago next.
You know what? You
week.
guys know I love Drago, but against Tuipulotu, I think it's probably a little bit unfair. But
I don't know. I have to look better. The Phantom. I will rewatch the game again and again this week until mercoledì. So I'm gonna look at Zanon to see what was good, what wasn't. But okay. Drago. Then Mike, the team is there. The rest of the team, you have choices. I don't know if Federico Ruzza will play again next week. But hey, we have to also think about Quesada's words and necessities for the national team. Probably this year is not going to be only Brex management like last year was. We're going to see much more of that kind of management for other players too.
So do you think we're going to see Lamaro back? We're going to see like Zilocchi back. We're going to see, you know, like you said, Ruzza. We saw Zuliani, didn't we? So like we're going to see all of these players back ready. Do you think for Glasgow?
For Glasgow or home, as Robert wrote in the chat, bear in mind round 3 Benetton Leinster. Man,
nice
I don't know how much Leinster, but of course it's more gameable, playable. Because at least because you are at home, but then we know what Leinster did last year with the second team.
Otto, I know obviously we're about to wrap up, but just because it came up a lot in between us obviously recording and stuff, and we didn't really speak about it, and again, still on social media, the conversation's still quite rife. If there was an option for a third franchise in Rome, right? Where do you think we have enough players in Serie A to fill like a competitive roster? Money no object.
Money on job. So we have at least 6 million, you're telling me?
So we have a rich investor in this fantasy.
Wow. We have Phantom investing 6 million in Rome. Nice.
That's what I heard. Phantom, sorry, mate. We're going to have to hold you to that, mate. We're going to get in contact with the URC. And yeah, so you're going to invest. No, Mike, we get a load of Argentinians.
You can invest. You can invest in almost in a kind of an under 25 team.
Yeah.
More like that. You can do it, because if we think about the players that they are not in one team, in the other one, so they're not permit players for one, permit players for as we say for Zebre, but for Benetton, probably you can put all together and you can develop in a different way if you work really well as an academy, because we have some of the clubs in Rome, they're working well.
Yeah,
some players came from Rome too, which
so do
in
you
a
think,
crazy dystopic world, you can see Lamaro, Ferrari, Fischetti playing together in Rome. Dystopic, but
yeah, just I know it's like speculation, but it's a bit of fun, isn't it? And I think, if we're being really real, like, and the conversations that are being had at the moment, obviously surround the new administration, their plans. Like if we were being really, really real about it, and there was options for a third franchise or, God forbid, a relocation, but I think Rome has to be the place for it. So like we're going to champion that. We're going to champion that heavy.
Man, the only nation without a franchise in the capital.
Yeah, it needs to happen. Okay, well, Otto, is there anything else we haven't spoken about?
One little thing. Great game by Albornoz. Albornoz was a great game. Congratulations to him. Commiseration to Manny Libok. My God. Man, go and see what G Love made on. I'm gonna send you this.
Yeah,
on
do
TikTok
it.
About Manny Libok.
I love a bit of Graham. Yeah. Send it to me. He's funny as hell. He is so funny.
But great game. I really hope that Albornoz will start playing every game with the light on.
I like it.
Sometimes it's been too much up and down for me, or too individual player. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this and done. But yes, great game, good game, and next week is really crispy.
Yeah, spicy.
Spicy, crispy. It sounds like
it's a chicken zinger. Nice.
I was thinking that it's a pizza box full of the goddess stuff, meat godness after a night at the pub, right?
That's it. Otto, I think now's a good time.
That's it for today. So, Mike, we did 1 hour, 1 minute, and I forgot to use this.
It's like a pat on the back, isn't it? It's just patting yourself on the back. Yeah, well done, guys.
Well done. Anyway, Mike, see you. Let's see if we're gonna be live this weekend. Anyway, if not, we'll see you on Monday again for another episode of Fratelli di Rugby. Ciao a tutti. Thanks for being with us. 99 viewers right now, which is great. Please just put a like and follow us. I arrived late, Claudio. Oh, just to say, yes, Capozzo, there is a stadium called Ange Capozzo Stadium where he start playing rugby, which is great. And see you
just
soon.
A quick one on Capozzo before you go. Did you see the enforcer? Did you see him? He was like backies in the past coming out. Have you not seen this? Oh, Otto, I'm going to send it to you. He channeled his inner gangs of Trulla.
He's in the Trulla against who was there?
Mate, he took on like 4 players. I'll send it to you, my friend. I'll send it to you.
Perfect. Okay. Ciao a tutti, ragazzi. See you next week.